Let's understand the difference between FindAsync and FirstOrDefault, and when should you use one versus the other. With the FindAsync method, you can only use the primary key of your table. So in this instance, we have a student table and student ID is the primary key. So that's why in here, you have to supply an ID field. You can also supply a number. So you can supply, for example, look for the student with the 5th ID. So this is important to understand. So if we have a look at our database, so this is our database. And as you can see, we have an ID column here. And you can see this ID column is the primary key. And these are the values that it contains. So you can only search by this column over here. So you cannot do this. For example, if we do like search by the name of the student. So here, basically we've added a new student, and what we want to do is once we have that new student in this variable, we're just calling the name. So you can see there are no errors in the VS Code editor. But if I try and run this program, what you will see is you'll get this error message. Now, in order to understand this, let's have a look at this error message. So you can see the student was created with ID 12. But when we try and search for that student, it says the key value at position 0 of the call to set student find was of type string, which does not match property type of int. So here, this is important that what it's doing is you over here have supplied it a string, but what it's trying to map against is of type int. It's looking for the primary key. It's looking for the key value at position 0. So that's why your code doesn't work. But if you change this to ID, then your code will work. So if I run this again, you can see we do not get any errors and the code works as expected. But what if you do need to search by anything other than ID? In that instance, this is where the FirstOrDefault method comes in handy. And you can basically use a lambda expression. So we'll just call this S. You can call it wherever you want. And then you can use the lambda operator. Name field is what is the field we want to compare against. So here you notice you didn't have to supply which field you want to compare against, but over here you are specifying, and we're saying that the name field must equal the student name. So this is what we want. So you can't do this sort of stuff over here because it's always comparing against the ID column, while with FirstOrDefault, it actually gives you the option to you decide over here in this lambda expression which column you want to compare against. So I wouldn't worry too much about this lambda operator. I wouldn't worry too much in understanding this lambda operator. All you need to do is you just put letter here and the field name that you want and what do they need to equal to, and by using the FirstOrDefault, and that lets you search by any field that you want. So I hope you understand why you need FindAsync versus FirstOrDefault method over here and what's the purpose of each of these methods.